Hey, are you thinking about moving to Chicago suburbs?
In this video, we are going to cover the 8 most important topics that you are going to want to know before moving to the Chicago suburbs.
So if you're thinking about relocating, you don't know where to get started, watch this video. We're going to have 8 things you want to know before you move to Chicago suburbs. Let's get started. So number 1 thing that we want you to be aware is the O'Hare Airport and all the plane noise caused by planes landing at O'Hare Airport.
So while it's convenient to get to the airport, you should know that that's going to cause a lot of noise, and it could be flying over a home that you're potentially looking for.
So if you're thinking about moving to suburbs, it's important to check the runway map to make sure that your home is in the native flight path. My home is a little bit further away from the airport, but I frequently get noise from the planes landing, especially at night. When I go out on my back deck, I can see anywhere from 10 to 14 planes line to run to get to the O'Hare Airport.
So some of the surrounding towns do have noise abatement programs, like putting in soundproof windows in the homes that those flight patterns cross over. So we'll include a link below so you can also check to see which towns will have that to offer.
Yes, and you have a second link with all the noise caused by that planes landing at O'Hare. So check this out. It might be very important if you're need more privacy, you like a quiet home, you might not want to be in a flight path to O'Hare.
Maybe you're an aviation buff, then you really know where you want to live. Either way, check it out.
So number 1 thing, O'Hare and all the plane noise associated with living in the suburbs. So number 2 thing that we want you to be aware of when you're moving to Chicago suburbs is Elgin O'Hare Western Access Project.
Now, this is a major infrastructure development aimed at improving the access to the O'Hare Airport.
Right, so our show is big on providing information about transportation accessibility, right? So if you're gonna live in the western suburbs, I-390 is getting extended. You can see all the bridges being built right now. And so I-390 is gonna loop to the north through around York Road to get into the I-90 where all Des Plaines Oasis used to be. And about 3 to 4 years, they're also gonna connect this road to I-294. So O'Hare Airport is going to have a nice big loop around, which is going to increase the traffic pattern and is going to help people get from the western suburbs either to O'Hare or even downtown.
Absolutely. So this project, again, is going to connect I-90 to the north and 294 to the south, and it's happening right behind us. And as Mike pointed out, right before he turned the camera on, this isn't going to impede any of your current travel times because this is a brand new road connecting to an existing structure as well. So great information to have.
So thing number 2, just be aware of the I-390 being extended and being a little bit more accessible. So if you're trying to buy a home, western suburbs might be a little bit better and have a more transportation access, right, to the O'Hare Airport.
More access coming soon.
And if we're talking about thing number 1, there's a huge plane flying right by because we're right by the O'Hare Airport. So you can hear the traffic noise if you're gonna live in Bensenville, Woodbine, Itasca. So be aware of those traffic patterns.
Might just be white noise. Up to you. All right, number 3 on the 8 things that you should know before moving to the Chicago suburbs. Number 3 is the Chicago Bears are planning to put their new stadium right behind us here in Arlington Heights.
So while a lot of people are talking about the stadium, but they forget there's going to be a new entertainment complex built right next to the stadium as well. So Bears purchased over 328 acres of land over here, right?
Yeah.
And not only the stadium, but they're going to build restaurants, hotels, bars, movie theaters, bowling alleys. So if you live in the northwest suburbs, you might have easier time to find entertainment choices.
Absolutely. And with the projected capacity at the stadium of 70,000 people, you're definitely going to see an increase in traffic on those game days. Also, just with the entertainment portion of that development, you're going to see an increase in traffic, but also has a good potential impact on home values here and local amenities that will start popping up as a result of that development.
And hopefully with all the revenue generated by the new entertainment complex, your property taxes go down a little bit, right? So if you're thinking about moving to Chicago suburbs, thing number 3 is the Chicago Bears and Entertainment Complex in Arlington Heights area.
It's a big deal. Thank you for tuning in. We want to remind you that we've done a lot of work in putting together this relocation guide.
So if you're considering moving to Chicago suburbs, don't forget about our relocation guide. You're going to see different towns with neighborhood values, school ratings, safety ratings. There's also a big discount section where Mike negotiates special discounts just for you. So after you watch the video, don't forget to click the link below to receive the newest copy of our 2024 relocation guide.
Don't go at it alone. We've done the due diligence and you get the benefit. All right, number 4 on the list of the 8 top things you should be aware of before moving to the Chicago suburbs are the utilities like well, septic, and are you going to have city water and sewer?
Right, so we're in front of the house. It's unincorporated area, so this one is on the well water. This is the wellhead right behind me. And also this home has a septic tank with a septic field in the backyard. So if you're moving from big city that's on public Lake Michigan water, you want to make sure that you're aware of things that you might need with a home like this, right? How often do you change the filters? What kind of softener do you need? What kind of salt do you buy? Also, as an agent, I always get a lot of questions about septics, right? How does that affect my daily living, right? Can I use the restroom twice a day, right? Or how often the pumper truck will come here, right? So remember, there's different things in suburbs that you want to be aware of. Ask the agent, make sure they work with an experienced agent that can explain you some of the differences about well, septic versus public water.
Absolutely, and this is something that, you know, we want you to reach out to. We don't want you to be scared from looking at homes that have well and septic, and in fact, you may just be getting more bang for your buck with the property size and the home size itself. And Mike, you have this experience that you might even find that the utility bill itself is a little bit less.
Right, you're gonna have cheaper bills, right? You're not gonna be paying for water, you're not gonna be paying for sewer, right? And your property taxes might be a little bit cheaper.
Another bonus.
So thing number 4 that you wanna be aware of before you move to Chicago suburbs, is your home on well and septic, or is it in a public utilities? Hey, so point number 5 about living in Chicago suburbs is all the parking regulations, right?
Yes, they're gonna vary from town to town, so please be sure to check with us or at least whoever you're working with to make sure that you're aware of what the standard is in that town.
So one tip, your association might have a separate set of rules for parking versus your town, right? So besides, if you move, if you're buying a single family home, you only have the village or the city regulations to obey by, right? But if you're thinking about buying a condo or a townhome, you might want to check all the rules, bylaws, regulations to make sure if your visitors come, they can find a parking spot.
That's
right?
correct. And specific to the town, I know that with my experience in unincorporated DuPage, you don't need a city sticker. Most instances you do. So you're always going to want to check specifically in the areas that you're interested in to make sure that you are in compliance and not coming back to that orange parking ticket that none of us like to see.
So we're downtown Arlington Heights. There's a couple big garages here, but if you want to park, 4 hours is free, but then later you might need to get a parking permit, which is about $30 a month.
Just keep checking in here for more resources, how we can keep you out of the tickets and into the convenience. All right, number 6 on our list of the 8 things that you should know before moving to the Chicago suburbs are pets and what the city ordinances and fees are associated.
Right, so if you're considering moving to the suburbs, if you're looking into associations, right? Some associations have very strict rules against your pets, right? He's about 100 pounds, so he might not fit into some of the rules and regulations by the associations. This guy is only about 10 pounds, so he might be okay, right? But if you're looking to buy a single family home, there might be some pet registration fees that you gotta pay. In Prospect Heights is $25 per pet, and then each renewal is $12, right? Also, you're big about chickens, right?
That's right.
So you gotta be aware about your regulations about chickens.
Yeah, some cities are gonna say, sure, no problem, come on, get the chickens, but you have to have the permission of all the adjoining neighbors. Some will say, no permission needed. If you're in, for example, unincorporated DuPage County, you can have up to 5 hens. Absolutely no roosters for multiple reasons. One, the noise, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be waking up your neighbor at 5 o'clock in the morning by your rooster just going crazy.
That's right. And you'd probably be pretty quickly over your limit of 5 if you did have a rooster and the hens. So just good to check in what the city ordinance is so you don't end up with a ticket and you can enjoy those animals. Even another example, Long Grove, you can have hoofed animals, right? So alpaca, llama, horses, but just make sure that you're referencing the city's website or talking to us about what towns are going to allow the animals of your choice.
Right, so it's still a big upgrade of living in the city of Chicago. If you get caught without pet registration, you might pay a fine up to $500. But remember, different towns have different regulations, so always check, be aware of what's going on with different pets. And we want to welcome you. And this is point number 6 that you want to be aware we're moving to Chicago suburbs.
All right, number 7 on our list of 8 things that you should know before moving to the Chicago suburbs is the waste management and recycling programs, which are all going to differ from town to town.
Right, so actually on this street, there's 3 different companies that come and collect garbage, right? This is Flood Brothers. If you see the neighbor over there, she's using Groot. And there's also a waste management company that comes and picks it up, right? So there's some options when your area is serviced by different garbage collectors. You might call around and figure out pricing. Also make sure that you figure out the size of the bin, because there might be different prices for different sizes that you need to service your household.
Yeah, if you have some specific needs of, one day being better than the next for pickup, you'll want to check that out as well. And just see what, like, the caveats, like the bulk items, right? If I'm going to put something out to the curb, let's say a couch, right? How many stickers is it going to take? Does it take any stickers, to make sure that when you come home that's actually been taken? So please refer to either us or to the local companies that have the services available to make sure that you're picking the right service for you.
Yeah, you want to do a little bit of research, especially let's say in the fall when you have big leafy trees in your backyard, right? If you're collecting leaves, how many paper bags, how many stickers are required to clean out your backyard, because that might add a little bit of cost to your home ownership, right? So you want to be aware of some of those policies. Also, different towns might be a little bit more stricter on the recycling policies as well. Yes. So you want to do a little bit of research before you move to your local community in the suburbs.
You may like having the yard work on your to-do list, but the juice might not be worth the squeeze, if you will. So like Mike was saying, you might just get rid of all those leaves for cheaper if you have somebody else come in and remove them for you. So just take a look, do the math, or reach out to us and we get you any information you're looking for.
Awesome. So point number 7, garbage collecting and recycling for your local communities in the suburbs.
All right, number 8 on the 8 things you should know before moving to the Chicago suburbs are transfer taxes.
Right, so different municipalities have different transfer taxes, right? If you're moving, there's transfer tax sometimes on the seller side, sometimes there's on the buyer side. So if you're a seller in a home in adjacent Rolling Meadows, it's about $450,000 sale price, you're gonna have to pay $2,025 in the transfer fees. If you're a buyer in adjacent Mount Prospect, you're gonna have to pay $3 per $1,000 of purchase price, which is about $1,325 on an average $450,000 home, right? Also, don't forget about the transfer taxes for state of Illinois, that's 50 cents, and the transfer tax for Cook County, let's say, which is 25 cents per thousand. It's still a huge upgrade over buying a place in Chicago where the transfer taxes on seller and buyer amount to about $10.50 per $1,000.
So with these videos, what we're trying to do is alleviate any of those surprises that could come up on what that bottom line cost is going to be to not only sell, but also to buy your new home. So what we've done is we'll include another link below that will allow you to look at those town-specific transfer tax amounts.
So we want you to be aware of all your closing fees, all the transfer taxes. So 8 things you want to know about moving to Chicago suburbs will be transfer taxes. Hey, thank you so much for watching our 8 things you want to know before moving to Chicago suburbs.
Please do not forget to click the link below and/or subscribe and like, so you get a copy of this relocation guide and make it much easier to make the decision on where is the right spot for you to move.
And if you have any additional questions about anything that we featured in our show today, or if you want to know anything else about moving to Chicago suburbs, there's so much more that we want to share with you. Don't be a stranger, reach out, we're here to help.
We look forward to hearing from you soon, and don't keep us a secret. Make sure to share this with somebody else that could use this great information.
Talk to you soon.